Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of my manga advent calendar project. I'm Dai, and today I will be sharing with you my first impressions on the Ayakashi Hunter's Tainted Bride. This is volume 1. This is by Midori, Yuma, and Mamenosuke Fujimaru. This one's published by Kodansha, rated older teen. So in this story, we follow our female character here. When she was young, she was betrothed to the son of a pretty prominent family, and in this world it has a lot to do with like spiritual energy and powers and things like that, and she has a remarkable amount of spiritual power, levels that they haven't seen in a very, very long time. It's very rare for someone to have as much power as she does. Then one day she gets attacked by an Ayakashi and thus becomes tainted. Everybody kind of looks down at her now because she's been marked by this Ayakashi and basically is worthless, even though her power level is still very high. Because she's been marked, she's been tainted. And so her cousin ends up marrying her betrothed instead because she's no longer suitable. And so she kind of lives a Cinderella kind of story where she's now become a servant in the household. She has to cater to her cousin who is now married to her previous fiance and things like that. And she gets bullied. She gets treated very badly, not only by people in the household that she's working for, but for people in the village that where she lives. People throw stones at her, they say nasty things, and she has to wear a mask because that's where the mark is on her body. And then one day a man comes to the estate where she's working. Because this family is so prominent, they also help other people like find brides and things like that, so they do a little bit of matchmaking for a price, obviously. And that's kind of how they make their money, with dowry. But this guy ends up noticing our female character and how much power she has, and ends up taking her for his bride. And so we follow our main character kind of leaving her village for the first time, experiencing city life, because she's lived in the village her whole life and had never seen the city, and kind of learning about this guy who is now taking her to become his wife, living at his house, and learning about his profession, where he is actually an Ayakashi hunter who lives in a house full of Ayakashi. And so it was a really interesting story. The back of this actually says Noragami meets My Happy Marriage. In this steamy new historical fantasy romance about a cursed girl shunned by those around her and the demon hunter who falls for her. So I've read Noragami, not all of it, but a good portion of it. And My Happy Marriage. Again, not all of it, good portion of it. I'm not up to date, but I'm very close to. And I would actually say that this had more of a feel of My Happy Marriage and Kakuryou. Just because the way that his house is with all of the Ayakashi inside, and the Ayakashi that help tend to our main character when she gets there, definitely has the feel of the Ayakashi that are like in Kakuryou. Especially because some of the Ayakashi that we first meet when we get to his house were some of the first Ayakashi that the main character in Kakuryou also encounters. And so for me, at least this first volume felt more like that. Definitely has that, like I said, Cinderella kind of story feel to it. But it has that like supernatural element as well. And I'm really, really interested to see where this story goes. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I presume that as we get further into this series, it's probably going to feel a little bit more like Noragami. For me, Noragami feels a little bit more serious. at least further on in the series. So maybe more serious conflicts and things will start coming up, and that's why it's being compared to Noragami. But as of right now, this first volume is definitely more, I wouldn't say lighthearted as far as when we get to his residence, but it's not as like serious. So I really enjoyed this one. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing with it, and I'm giving this one 4 stars. So yeah, really looking forward to continuing with that one and enjoyed it a lot. And so those are my thoughts on the Ayakashi Hunter's Tainted Bride. So let me know down in the comments below if you've read from this series and what you think of it. But please no spoilers. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a Sakura emoji down in the comments below, it would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. Hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 3 of my manga advent calendar project. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and sumile always. Bye.